Okay, chat. Are we ready? All right, 200 people here. Everybody drop one emote and we'll bring Maddie on. Just gotta get it hyped a little bit. I need that energy. Wait, is Inti in here? Oh, Inti, you're in here. What's up? All right, let's do it. Hey, Maddie, how you doing? Can you hear me okay? I don't think he hears me. Can you hear me okay? Oh, my mic is on mute. Wow, I'm a noob. My mic was on mute this whole time. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, man. I'm good, thanks.
Sorry, for a second I
How are
was
you?
talking, like I'm talking, and like, is he, can he hear me? Can he hear me? And then I realized I've been on mute this whole time, so I apologize.
No worries.
How you doing, man? Sorry, very nice to meet you. I know you and I have never had the chance to speak or meet in person.
No, unfortunately not.
Very nice to meet you. For
Yeah,
those of
same.
us that don't know you, I've been following you on Twitter for a while. Done my homework on you a little bit. Give us a quick rundown. Who are you? What do you do? How long have you been hacking for?
All right, so my name is Matti. I am a full-time bug bounty hunter. And
Okay.
at the moment, I am hunting almost exclusively on Intigriti programs.
Very cool.
And I collab, like lately, I've been doing a lot of collaborations together with some good friends. And I've been having a lot of fun doing it. So that's nice.
Yeah, I've seen some of the fun you've been having lately on the leaderboard and some nice purchases. We'll get to those in a little bit.
Yeah.
How long have you been hacking for? When did you start hacking?
So I started doing this full time almost a year ago,
Okay.
and before that I was doing it not as often. So I took a big gamble, start by doing it full time, but it worked out. So
Yeah. What's your background like? Like, what did you do before
so
hacking?
so last year I graduated from my 3 years of doing a cybersecurity course at a school in Belgium.
Okay.
And I learned a lot of stuff at that school, which helped me a lot by starting in the bug bounty program.
Okay.
So that's my biggest background, I guess.
So did you go to
And
school
a
for
lot.
computer science?
Yeah, so I took when I was 18 and I graduated from I'm not sure what you call it in America, but like we call it school. And then I went to university and I did some applied computer science with a specialization in cyber security,
Very cool.
which at the time was the only school in Belgium. So
Wow. Okay. And then straight out of college, you just picked up bug bounties, did it part time, and then full time now.
yeah,
So
correct.
how did you learn web hacking? Like, how did you, how did you get into the idea of web hacking? How did you set up these goals and like learn these different vuln types? How did that work?
Yeah, so I guess I got most of the basics from school, but a lot of stuff came from reading Twitter and the HackerOne disclosed reports.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you get a lot of the basics from school, but in the end, most of the stuff you have to just learn it yourself. You have to do the exercises. I did a lot of CTFs, which I learned a lot from.
Okay.
So
Do you have any certificates?
yeah, I got the certified ethical hacker cert during my period in school because we got a big discount. I think it was only 50 or maybe 100
Wow.
euros, which isn't a lot for what they usually ask to get a cert.
Yeah.
So I did that. But I
Wow.
have to be honest,
Okay.
it was
I mean, $100 is cheap, dude.
yeah. To be honest, like I could have done all the questions, but I looked at all of the answers before I started the exam, so it was just too easy.
Yeah.
So
But did it help you with your bug bounty at all? I know that OSCP has these things that's different than bug bounties, but did it help you with the hacker mentality? Did it open up any? Did it teach you anything that it was valuable to you now as a bug hunter?
no, not really. Um, everything I learned anyways at school. So, but the certified ethical hacker exam does ask a lot of ethical questions, like if you like, they ask a lot of ethical questions, like if you found something by accident, would you report it? Stuff like that. So I think it's a lot more like the ethical aspect of it, and the other questions are just easy. So
Okay. Would you recommend people that are getting into bug bounty or cybersecurity to take OSCP from someone who's taken it?
um, to be honest, I'm not sure. I know there are some companies who prefer that you have certificates, but as a bug bounty hunter, I don't see any value in these certificates. Like if you're a beginner, I guess you could learn a lot of new things from the courses that come with these certificates.
Yeah.
But I don't think the certificates on their own give you any added value. I know there are some like older companies would still prefer the certificates, but in my opinion, for a bug bounty, they don't have they don't offer any added value.
Do you have a big background in programming or any developer background?
Yeah, I started doing programming pretty early on. I know I had a lot of fun developing these like custom servers for Minecraft clients.
Oh, cool.
So I had a lot of fun learning that I guess I was 12, 13 years old when I started doing it.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then a little later, I started doing these courses on programming in middle school, which helped me a lot as well.
So, do you think for someone to become a successful bug hunter, they will need to have a developer or programming background, or what's your take on it? Do you think there's still a chance for people to do good with bug bounties, even though they don't have a huge understanding of how to code or, you know, develop a website, for example?
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible to do it without programming knowledge, but in my opinion, it just makes things so much easier because you understand how what's happening in the
Yeah.
background of your program. Also, if you know Python, it just makes everything so much easier. But if you have Burp, I think you can do pretty much a lot of stuff in Bug Bounty already without needing to know how to program.
What programming language would you recommend people that are new to learn when they're getting into bug hunting?
Yeah, I guess Python, because it's one of the easiest languages in my opinion. It's one of the most forgiving languages. And a lot of tools in Bug Bounty already use Python, so it's easy to pick up on it.
And you mentioned something about Burp Suite. I kind of want to talk about that. What tools do you use
Yep.
as a bug hunter? Is it mainly just Burp Suite, or do you rely on any other tools while when you're doing bug hunting?
Yeah, I rely mostly on Burp Suite for my pen testing, and sometimes I use FUF, but I'm not a big fan of doing recon and brute forcing, so I try to avoid using
Same.
these. Yeah.
So let's talk about Burp. We'll talk about the recon stuff in a minute.
Yep.
What kind of do you use any extensions on Burp?
Yeah, I use a lot actually. I am a big fan of hunting for IDORs, so I
Okay.
use authorize and auto repeater a lot to automate this process.
Okay.
Um, there are some other tools. I have a few tools I wrote for myself to test specific bug bounty programs because sometimes they do some kind of encoding or even encryption in the communication between server, and I write extensions to make it easier to decode these or to read these requests.
So what other extensions do you use that are publicly available for folks that are watching this interview that you recommend using? You said authorize was one, auto repeater. Any other ones?
Um, yeah, I am also a big fan of the tool by James Kettle. Um, I forgot the name, but it's guessing all the get parameters or the JSON parameters.
Okay.
I can't think
It's
of
a
the name right
param-miner?
now. Yeah, paraminer. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
So you use that
I'm a big
so
fan of
brute
that.
force parameters in a post or get request.
Yeah, I like using it a lot when there's like a profile update function, like a post request to update your profile, because a lot of times there are some hidden fields which which aren't visible to you, but if you update them, it still has some kind of reaction in the background. It could be something as stupid as adding a field like admin with a value of true, and then suddenly you're like the admin of some kind of
Yeah.
program.
Or debug equals true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So you just completely rely on burp. You said you don't do a lot of recon.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the recon part. So as you know, this is called the Recon Show. Recon
Yeah.
Sundays, live recon.
Yeah.
Curious to understand, if you don't do recon, I think what you mean by recon is you don't like to go look for different assets. You like to hit the core app, go through the application's workflow, and find vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah, correctly. Yeah.
So how does that look for you? Do you read a lot of JavaScript? Do you browse the website? Combination of both? How do you approach a target is what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah. So usually I like to target a company with the front door, so I just use their main application, and I go very deep into the application to get a thorough understanding how everything works. And I try to find like structural issues between stuff. It's like sometimes components behave very differently, like with each other, and you can find a lot of business logic flaws by just understanding how the company works, how their backend works. I like just going for a very deep dive into the application.
Do you automate anything when it comes down to going after the main application? Do you automate, like, do you pull JavaScript files in diffem, or just purely just looking through and browsing the website?
No, yeah, I mainly just browse through the website. Like for this, I don't really have any automation. I do have a lot of my recon automated though, but for the main web pages, I just go through them manually, try to find stuff.
So let's talk about your recon automation.
Yep.
What do you have automated as far as recon goes that you can share? What kind of recon do you do on automation?
So while I don't really like recon, but I do have a lot of it automated. So I
Okay.
have a system, I call it my watchdog, and I can just give it the URL of a program, and then it will start scanning all of the subdomains. And once it's done with that, it will give me a list of all the subdomains, and I can just automatically take screenshots of everything. And this way I can get an easy overview of weird subdomains of the company. And it used to automatically check for subdomain takeovers, but I ended this service because it never found anything useful.
Dude, subdomain takeovers are nearly impossible at this point because of how many
Yeah.
people are going after him.
Yeah.
Today's new one of them. I think he's just farming for subdomain takeovers that makes it impossible. So when you mentioned your recon process being automated, you discover assets. What do you use for asset discovery? Do you use Amass? Do you use Sublister, Cert.sh? Do you do a passive, active? How do you do it?
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure, but I believe I use Sublister as one of my modules.
Okay.
And for screenshots, I use a tool called, well, I'm not sure, but there's a lot of tools for screenshots. But I wrote an entire Java wrapper around this because I have a lot of servers running this. I have like one main server and then a lot of like slaves that ask for tasks from this main server. They run them and then they return the result.
So you have microservices
So
running in the background doing all these different things and
yeah,
collecting them back.
yeah.
What did you see? Everything is in JavaScript?
No, it's in Java.
Java, okay.
It's Java, and then the Java, like the Java links all of the microservices, and they each call their own Python processes using sublister. And I also write some manual, I call them modules. They do like one specific task. For example, I have one module which scans for /env/heap dump and stuff, just to find interesting files. And I have this very easy system which allows me to just upload a Python module using my own system, and then like the next day I can just check the results, see if it found anything interesting.
Very cool. Let's put this idea you've completely given to us, and now let's talk about an actual target. Red Bull has been a very huge topic recently.
Yeah.
Red Bull just drops on Intigriti. You have to approach Red Bull. How do you approach it? It's a huge company with a ton of websites, right?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not a big fan of these kind of companies, because like I'm not a fan of just hunting for subdomains and finding something interesting. I rather go for the main target. But in this case, I just fed like all of the top level domains, which Red Bull and Red Bull Music Services, to my watchdog, and then it takes a lot of time to gather all of the subdomains. So I guess maybe 12 hours later I will get a result, and then I can open it on my website, and I will see all of the screenshots, and then I'll just go through all of these screenshots until I find something interesting, and then I'll manually go through it.
Okay. So you said you don't like these companies that have big scopes with a lot of subdomains. How do you pick a target?
I like to go for programs which have a high payout, because I would rather invest 4 times more of my time in finding a bug than finding 4 easy bugs on another program, because I'm not a big fan of doing the whole reporting thing. I rather hunt for bugs. So I try picking programs with high bounties, because I know it's harder to find something, but in the end, I'll only have to write one report and I'll get a lot more money from the company.
Okay.
So I usually pick targets with high payouts. Yeah.
So you just the biggest thing for you is a high paying target. As long as it pays good, you're in.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it ever bother you, or I shouldn't say bother, do you care if a program has been around for a while or has been looked at by a ton of other hackers?
No, not really. No.
How do you
Because
approach that?
yeah. Usually I try to look for either the very old stuff on it, or the very new stuff, because those are often the things people don't really look at. Sure, certainly if it's a public program.
Yeah.
So I try to find these new things in it and see how I can do anything wrong with that.
Okay. How much time do you spend on hacking a week or a day?
Yeah, it really depends. Until like a couple of weeks ago, I think the past 5 weeks, I was doing a max of 20 hours a week, because I was moving to a new apartment, and there was a lot of other stuff going on, and I didn't feel like hacking. I didn't have a lot of motivation. But then a week ago, I got into a lot of collaborations with Stan and Hans, my fellow collaboration friends. And then I got a lot of motivation back. And then there was also the HackerOne event. And now I'm back to doing almost 40 hours a week.
Did you participate in the HackerOne event?
Yeah, I did.
Did you find any bugs?
Yeah, we found some, but nothing very interesting. But we did go to the next round, so that's
very
nice.
Cool, man. Awesome. Congrats. That's very cool.
Thanks.
Was this your first time participating in an event?
For HackerOne, yeah.
Wow, very cool.
I have participated in a few Intigriti events before, but not on HackerOne.
Very cool. So you mentioned collaboration. Why is collaboration important in bug bounties to you? Like, what do you think is so important?
Yeah, I think for me, for example, I'm not a fan of Recon, so my colleagues like, or at least one of my colleagues like doing a lot of Recon, and then we can just combine our forces, because it's just better, and it also motivates me. It's a lot more fun if you can just hang out in a voice channel and talk to each other, tell each other what you found, share ideas, brainstorm with each other. Yeah, I like doing it.
How does it affect the learning process? Do you learn a lot while you're collaborating with other people?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. You learn these new kind of mindsets from each other. Like someone else might come up with some crazy idea which you think will just never work, and then in the end it does work, and then you've learned something new, and you can take this knowledge and you can go to the next program and maybe apply it on that program as well. So yeah, I think collaboration is one of the best ways to learn new stuff.
Hmm.
And well, it's also nice to just make friends and learn together.
Yeah, I mean, in a world where, especially right now, where everything is remote and we're
Yeah,
all isolated, that's a very good way to have some social interaction. And then also,
yeah,
like, even besides the isolation, like, a lot of us are hacking alone. We're in our office, in our room, on the couch, whatever, hacking. We're always doing it on our own, and
yeah,
it's good to have somebody to be able to bounce ideas to. Am I chasing a rabbit hole, or is it something here? Like, there's been times where I personally admit to not seeing a vulnerability while we're looking at an endpoint, and then I work with Zaid a lot, and Zaid's like, oh, there was a bug in here that I completely missed, right?
yeah.
Is there any hackers that you wanted to collaborate with and you haven't yet?
Ooh, yeah. I guess there's a lot. I would love to do a lot of collaborations with the people who work at Intigriti, but
Okay.
unfortunately, a lot of them are just not allowed to, or like all of them are not allowed to hack on Intigriti programs.
Oh, that's not
So,
good.
but I'd like to do a lot of collaborations with some of the teams, some of the members of Triage and Inti, for example. I've never got around to doing anything together with him, so it would be nice.
Well, I mean, I know Inti can't hack on Integrity, but he's
Yeah,
always welcome to come hack on HackerOne. He's been one of the most active hackers on the HackerOne event, and he just said in the
yeah,
chat, we can do it on the H1 event. So I hope you guys get some hacking done on the, because I think you guys are going to the next round, so might as well enjoy the next event and do some collaboration. And 10 out of 10, I'd highly recommend working with Inti.
yeah.
That guy
Thanks.
is a monster, is what I can call him. He's a RFCs hate him. He ruins RFCs with this one simple trick.
Yeah,
Okay,
true.
so what's your routine like? I'm curious. So let's just, before we talk about the routine, you just bought a Tesla from your bug bounty hunting,
Yeah.
and how did that work? Was that one of your goals in the beginning? You said, I'm gonna start hacking to get enough money to buy a Tesla, or was it that you made the money and like, oh, I want to go buy a Tesla now?
No, not at all. So when I started, I set these minor goals because I've always wanted a Tesla, but in the beginning, I just never expected to be able to do stuff like that. So I started setting these minor goals. I bought like a smartwatch. I think a smartwatch was my first bug bounty goal I reached. But
Okay.
then earlier this year, I moved to France for a couple of months, and during this period, I set a goal for myself to earn a Tesla in
Okay.
France. In this, I think for 4 or 5 months I was in France. I just really wanted to earn this Tesla, and if I could do it in these 4 or 5 months, then I'll buy it. And then in France, I had a lot of luck. Uh, I hunted on this extremely nice program, which paid me a lot of money for finding vulnerabilities. And then I got back home and I realized I had enough money for a Tesla, and I bought it. It was
That's awesome.
one of the best goals I ever set for myself. It motivated me a lot because I really wanted this Tesla. I wanted to hack this Tesla, and like using this, I worked 50 hours a week just to get my goal. So
So let's be real, you just wanted to hack the Tesla website. You wanted a Tesla car. So you paid for the premium feature, my friend.
yeah,
You paid for the premium feature here. I get it. I don't blame
yeah,
you for it. I think a lot of us have thought about the whole like buying a car or buying this expensive product that we want. We want it, and in reality we want it, but also it's the hacking that gets you motivated.
yeah,
Um,
too.
so what does your routine look like? Right now you hit your goal. You bought the Tesla you wanted, right? Are you goal
Mhm.
driven? Like, do you have a goal every month of how much you want to make,
Yeah.
or how does that work for you, man? I'm curious to hear it.
Yeah, so I always try to set a goal for myself. After I bought the Tesla, I didn't find a goal. I didn't find a goal for myself, and I lost a lot of motivation because
Yeah.
of this. Simply because I had no goal. I felt like, well, I had a Tesla. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
And then earlier this month, I set the goal to earn a specific number in September. And if I reach this number, I would buy this upgrade for my Tesla, which allows it to. It's called enhanced autopilot, which allows it to do a lot of new things like drive itself on the highway and stuff, like get into and out of my garage by itself. And I set this goal, I think, in the beginning of September, and then I worked hard to earn it by the end of September, and now I got it. So I bought it, and it gives me a lot of motivation knowing I can just work hard and then buy whatever I want, like buy my goal for the month.
So you mentioned, you lose motivation. I think a lot of us deal with that. When I completely understand it, you have these goals of like, I want to get this apartment, I want to get this, whatever, I want to buy this thing, save up this much money. You hit it, and you go, so what? What's next now, right? And it sounds like you also deal with burnout a little bit once in a while. Do you
Yeah,
hit
yeah, I'm not
burnouts
gonna lie.
regularly?
Yeah, I have a lot of issues with burnouts, but when I feel like I'm burning out or I'm just getting bored, I take time off. I just stop doing hacking for a couple of weeks or even a month or 1.5 months, because once you burn out completely, it takes a lot of time to recover. So I rather prevent this and take time off when I know I'm going to burn out. So yeah,
Do
being
you
prepared helps a lot.
do you feel that you're getting burnt out, or so? I'll give an example for myself. I go from no bugs, finding bugs, getting back into my routine, and then when you get that high of finding bugs, you just want to keep pushing. You want to maximize your motivation, whatever it is. You want to keep the flow going, and then you start going on a decline, and then that's when the burnout happens, right? I don't see the burnout happening until I'm literally like losing my mind, and I go, "Fuck this, I'm out." I close my laptop and I disappear for weeks. Do you see it coming, or are you the same way? You get burnt out and you realize you have to go on a break.
Yeah, if I know I'm going to burn out, I'll know in advance. I'll start losing motivation. I'll stop wanting to get up in the morning to hack, and I'll just stay in my bed for like two more hours, and then I'll start hacking. I can feel it. I start losing my motivation a lot in advance, and I know it always happens because I've had this very good month, and then I just couldn't find anything for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I know if I haven't found something in like 2 weeks, I'm pretty close to getting burned out. So, but this is usually the time when I try to just completely rethink my methodology. So I will start doing only collabs, for example, or just find new programs or do only CTFs, for example, because CTFs, I like them a lot because there's always a solution. In Big Bounty, you can be hunting for a long time and not find anything. But in a CTF, at least you know there is a solution, and if you can't find it within a day or something, you can just look up the solution
Yeah.
for it. So that also helps to prevent falling into this hole where you think you're like shit, like I can't find anything, I must suck. So yeah.
You mentioned CTFs a few times. Do you think first of all, what CTFs do you play? And then do you think those CTF skills are transferable for bug hunting?
Yeah, so lately I've not been doing any like online CTFs or like competitions, but I do these, for example, the port trigger labs. I
Yeah.
did a couple of weeks. But when I started doing bug bounty, I did some CTFs. In Belgium, we have this very big competition. It's the cybersecurity challenge,
Okay.
and I played in this. And then because of a little bit of luck, because of my young age, we got to go to the European Cybersecurity Challenge,
Wow, very cool.
which is like a CTF between European countries. And I think in these CTFs you learn so much new things. Definitely as a beginner, you just also if you're with a team, because it was with a team of 8, I believe. There's so many of these new ideas and new mindsets you get exposed to, and I think it's one of the things that taught me the most when I started doing bug bounty. It might not be, you might not be doing like website CTFs or
Yeah.
web CTFs, but even the binary hacking stuff and such, it can get you into this hacker mindset. It will just teach you how things might go wrong, and it will always have some kind of application in web hacking. So I think CTFs are one of the best ways to get into hacking in general.
Yeah, and with the Burb Suite, Portswigger that you just mentioned, those labs are very, very relevant. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
it's designed to a way that you see in bug bounties, and you know, you might not look real, but it's still, the vulnerabilities are pretty close to what you would find in an actual application while doing bug hunting, right?
Yep.
The other thing that I want to talk to you, said something about, you know, you wake up 2 hours in bed, whatever, when you're not motivated. The thing that I want to ask is, do you have a routine for every day? Like, do you wake up at a certain hour and do certain things, and then you have a morning routine, you do this, and then throughout your day, how does that look?
Yeah, so I have a girlfriend, which helps a lot because I just follow her schedule. She works in a hospital, and she usually has to start at 8 or 10, and I'll just do the same. I'll wake up with her, and I'll work the same hours she does, and this helps me wake up because then I can eat with her and stuff.
Spend some time.
This motivates me a lot. I think if I didn't have my girlfriend, I'd have a lot of issues waking up.
Yeah.
But she's motivating me a lot to get up to do my hacking. So
It's just holding you accountable in some ways, indirectly.
yeah, exactly. And if I don't earn bucks, she'll be like, "Come on, man, you gotta earn something. How else are we going to pay the bills?" So
That's cool. So you have someone supportive of what you do, and that's getting you the motivation. But do you?
yep.
So you wake up, you have breakfast with your girlfriend. Girlfriend goes to work. You hack until she comes back, and then you spend time with her.
Yeah,
And you do that almost
exactly.
every day.
Yeah, that's my weekly routine basically.
What do you do to take breaks? Do you take a lot of breaks while you're hacking in between? Some people like to go walking. Some people like to go exercise. Some people like to play video games in the middle. How do you do that to manage your mental health in some ways?
Yeah, I try to take like 2 breaks, one in the before noon and one afternoon, and I'll just take a break for 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll watch some YouTube video of some sorts and eat some kind of fruit. And then during noon, when I'll eat, I'll watch a video on my laptop and eat my dinner. And I guess this relieves me of this whole hacking thing. I just when I watch a video, I can just relax and do nothing, think about something else for a while. So
Do you are you familiar with what imposter syndrome is?
yeah,
Do you deal with imposter syndrome?
yeah, I think so. Um, well, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure, but I guess so because sometimes I'll just feel like, how did I ever reach the top 10 of Intigriti? Like, did I just get lucky because I was with them early on, or like, how did this happen? Did I just get extremely lucky, or so? Yeah, I deal with this quite often.
How do you overcome it?
Like, it might sound stupid, but I disabled the Integrity leaderboard, so I no longer see them. I don't know how many reputation I have or which rank I am on the leaderboard. I wrote an extension for myself to modify the CSS of all the things related to the reputation and like the ranking. Because each time I logged into Integrity, I would see my ranking in the top right corner, and I'd see like, ah, shit, I dropped another place again.
Yeah, it's
It
stressful.
was so demotivating. I was feeling so bad every time I dropped. So I just wrote this extension which completely disabled it. And honestly, it's one of the best things I've ever done because it helped me a lot with my mental health.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely understand. I'm watching myself just go down in the ranks in HackerOne right
Yeah,
now. I just stopped checking. I don't go.
yeah,
I don't go to my profile. I don't go to the leaderboard. I don't. I just. You just gotta stop. And I used to be very competitive, and I think it's in our nature as humans to be competitive and want to be, you know, pushing yourself to do better. But then I realized like it's not worth my stress. Like as long as I'm making some money, that I'm
exactly.
hitting my goals, I'm living
Yeah,
good, and the rest of it, it's fun. If I go up the leaderboard, I go up the leaderboard. Um, so I completely understand. It's actually fucking amazing that you have an extension that does it for you, dude.
yeah.
Um, Let me see, because I want to make sure I ask you all the questions. I try to not look at my notes as much as I can. The biggest thing I'd like to know, what's your advice? Let's talk about that. What is your advice for people that are just getting into bug hunting?
I guess the most important advice would be to just follow the Twitter feed, follow all of the big bounty hunters who are on Twitter. Follow them, read their write-ups.
Yeah.
Definitely scroll through the HackerOne disclosed reports, even the old ones, because they still apply today. Companies still have shit security today, so and then I guess CTFs are a good way to actually get your hands on, because all these write-ups they can be great to get new ideas, but if you don't apply these ideas, you'll just forget about them. So
Yeah.
you need to do some CTFs to learn about it, and then when you feel confident, you can just spend some hours looking on a bug bounty program, trying to find something. If you don't find anything, just continue doing CTFs. So don't feel bad about yourself. We all started finding nothing for hours. So don't feel bad about yourself. Just continue doing something else, either by reading write-ups or doing some CTFs.
So you mentioned Twitter. Chat wants to know who are some people that you would recommend following on Twitter. Give me your five, and NT can be one of them.
Tough question, actually. I'll quickly check. I'm not sure. A lot of times there people always like a lot of people retweet stuff from other people, which will learn you a lot of new things.
Yeah. So let's put
Um,
this way. Are there any hackers you personally like enjoy reading their stuff? Um, I can give you a few examples. Zayat does a lot of blogs. I enjoy reading him. Donut just did a really good one on SSRF. Space Raccoon, consistently putting good stuff
yeah,
out. Anybody else you have in mind?
yeah. Honestly, I can't think of anyone right now, which is quite a shame.
Well, let's do it this way. I'm gonna drop your.
The Portswigger guys, like they have a research Twitter, I believe. They
Okay.
and James Kettle, they always share a lot of nice things. I think James Kettle has taught me a lot of things about like the how the backends of systems work, like with his smuggling stuff. I think James Kettle might be one of the most interesting hackers, like related to big bounty,
Okay. Yeah, I
doing
agree.
things which are not really like web specific, but they still apply to it somehow.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I just dropped your Twitter in the chat. So chat, if you want to know who Maddie follows, what you can do is go on Twitter and go to his following and see who he's following. Make it easier. Um, Someone's asking about your training or with Burp. Did you attend any training? Did you read any books to learn how to use Burp, or were you just playing around with Burp and learning those on your own?
Oh no, I think of it. There's also Peter Hille. He also has a lot of nice write-ups. About the training.
Wait, Peter, you
Um,
mean Hanoki, right?
I Yeah, Peter.
He'll
Yeah,
be on this
Honoki.
stream
Yeah,
next week,
yeah.
so check him out next week.
Oh yeah.
But sorry, go
Okay.
ahead. How did you learn how to use Burp? Was it a book? Was it a training on your own? How did it look?
Yeah, I guess at school we were told to use it for we used the web goat exercises. There this vulnerable web app, and we were told to use burp. And I guess that's how I got into it. And then once you get a hang of it, you keep discovering new things, and eventually you'll be like fluent in it, I guess. As for books, I think there was this book from Peter Jaworsk that hacker once shared for free.
The
I
web
can't
hacking
think of the
101.
name. Yeah, I think I read it completely, and that also taught me a lot.
Okay. Are there any books other than that you recommend hackers to read?
Honestly, I don't think there's any other book I've read since then related to bug bounty hunting.
Okay, fair enough. And then the last thing that you mentioned before we kind of went off topic, you said, read all these in your advice. You said, go read these things and apply them.
Mm-hmm.
You said CTFs.
Yep.
Do you make it a goal to find similar vulnerabilities that you see in these blog posts for you to learn them, or do you go? How do you learn these things? A new method comes out. A new research comes out. How do you go and learn these things?
Yeah, so first I'll do CTFs about it. For example, I didn't really know about cache poisoning and how it worked a couple of months ago, and then I just did the port trigger labs about them. Then I just went through the entire list of Intigriti programs and tried it on a lot of them,
Okay.
and I found zero vulnerabilities. But I still applied all of this, and I learned how it should work with the CTF and stuff. So now I have a thorough understanding of how it works, and I didn't find anything, but it still taught me new things, so I like doing it.
Okay. Yeah, I think my personal experience is when I see a blog post that I like, I don't care if it's a vuln disclosure program or a bug bounty program. I want to figure out how this person did it. I'm going to look for it all over the place until, I kind of have to give up if I don't find it. But just the process of looking for it, you start thinking, okay, this is what they were thinking. These pieces of the blog post make sense. If you find one and you exploit it, then you go, okay, now I can automate it or put it in my tool belt, whatever that is, and keep looking for it. Is there anything you wish you knew, a year and a half ago before you got into bug bounty hunting? Like, is there something specifically that you learned in this recent time that you're like, I wish I knew this earlier? Any life lessons?
Yeah, I wish I started doing automation a lot earlier on. At this point, I think like I'm too late doing all of the automation, I guess, because all of the other hackers have mastered it already. But
Okay.
I guess if I could go back 1.5 years in time, I would tell myself to just automate everything. Try to find full vulns using that system, like today's new did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you have any mentors or anybody that had a big impact in your bug hunting and hacking career, directly or indirectly?
Yeah, I guess a lot of people helped me like little bits.
Yeah.
I don't think I had one specific mentor.
Anybody that
I
you want
always
to...
asked friends, like if I didn't understand something, I had a lot of friends, also at school, obviously,
Yeah.
which I just asked stuff.
Okay. So you didn't really have somebody that was a mentor. You pretty much learned on your own, just bits and pieces of people helping you here and there. And
Yep.
if someone offered you to help, why not take the help, right? Okay. Fair enough. I think that's all of the questions that I usually ask. The last bit of it is I like to play a quick game. I ask you some really easy questions, and
Okay.
the second part of it, I give you a word, and you tell me the first thing that comes into your mind. It could be a sentence, it could be a word, whatever you want to say.
Yep.
Before we get into that, let's talk about what was the first... Oh, so no, not even that. If you have to hack on one bug bounty program for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh,
No
that's
private
a very
programs.
tough question. I guess if I had to choose, it would be Verizon, because they have this like unlimited scope almost. So, but I guess I would choose Verizon.
Okay.
If I could only choose one.
Do you remember the first bug bounty program you ever hacked on?
Yeah, it was this program on HackerOne list, I guess. I found like the stupidest issue ever.
Okay.
It got me $100, and that was my first submission, and also one of my last, I believe, on HackerOne.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. What was your first bounty you ever earned?
Yeah, I guess it was that report. It got me. It was like HTML injection, but on a web page you would never visit. So it got me $100,
Do you
which was
remember?
my first bounty.
Do you remember what you did with it? With the money you earned?
Ooh, I don't think I did anything specific with it. I guess I just saved it.
What is your favorite bug type to look for? Is it IDOR? Is that still the case?
Yeah, IDORs, because they usually have a lot of impact. Like, you can find XSS and stuff, but most companies don't care too much about XSS, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I try to find IDORs, and a lot of companies appreciate it if you find an IDOR. So
Um, is there any big accomplishments that was only anything you accomplished that was only because of bug bounties?
yeah, I guess my Tesla, I would have never had my Tesla if it wasn't for bug bounties. Like, with a normal job, I would have never been able to pay for it.
Do you what's your favorite tool?
Yeah, Burp, definitely.
And what are some of your hobbies that do not involve a computer?
Tough question. I used to do squashing, but I stopped doing it, unfortunately. But I'd love to get back into doing it someday.
Very cool. That's awesome. Let's jump into the last bit of it. I'm going to give you a word. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I may have a few more. Let me write this one down so I don't forget. I have about 10 of them. Give you the word. Say the first thing that comes into your mind. It could be a word. It could be a sentence. Whatever.
Yep.
Tesla.
Bug bounty.
HackerOne.
Ooh, Verizon.
Verizon Media.
Live events.
Then live hacking events.
Gangster Squad and AG Real.
Inti, the hacker.
Emails.
Intigriti.
Money.
Recon.
Watchdog.
Collaboration.
HackerOne.
And last but not least, CTF.
Learning.
Well, hey man, very nice meeting you.
Yeah,
Sorry that
same.
this was the circumstance that we got to meet, but once the borders open up, I'm gonna definitely be in your area, and hopefully we get to meet in person and grab some drinks and talk hacking in person. But I appreciate you being on this show. I think
Thanks for
everybody,
having me.
you had a lot of fans in the chat, by the way. You had a lot of people very happy that you were on the stream. I genuinely appreciate you being on the stream, and I look forward to seeing your work in the future.
Thanks. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you, man. We'll talk soon.
See you.
See ya. All right. That was a very fun interview.